And I have a MySpace page. That's what I do.
There are times during the show that, you know, I'm obviously putting my foot in my mouth constantly. And my dad, he has to get up and leave and make popcorn or something. He can't, it's like, that's, my son's such a
Yeah.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
We want to have a dance-off.
All right, well, y'all go ahead.
Hit it, Tony!
And what about your parents? Are they thrilled to death?
They're thrilled to death with the success, yes. My dad can't quite stomach watching me on The Office, though.
Really?
Well, it's not how he wanted his son to turn out. I mean, I'm just such a complete boob. There are times during the show that, you know, I'm obviously putting my foot in my mouth constantly. And my dad, he has to get up and leave and make popcorn or something. He can't, it's like, that's, my son's such a
Yeah.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah. No, it really is. You're that perfect blend where it's just such an idiot.
He's, yeah. Well, it's a character, he doesn't have any sort of social filter. He doesn't, he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how other people perceive him at all.
No, no, he thinks he's fantastic.
Oh, funny, glib, witty, but he's none of those things.
Yeah.
But whenever he gets some sort of self-knowledge, that probably would make his head just explode. If he really saw how other people view him, I think he'd go crazy.
And do you lose it? I mean, I would think because you're so dry and it's so funny, is it hard to keep a straight face when you're doing this character?
It is, I mean, just because the rest of the cast is so funny. Rainn Wilson and John Krasinski and Jenna Fisher and BJ Novak, they're all of them, and the supporting cast as well, they're all so good that it's hard not to laugh because it's such a really strong ensemble.
And you were a fan of the British version before?
You know what? I had never seen the British version until just before I auditioned, and everyone had told me how great it was. So I watched a portion of their pilot, and I had to turn it off because it was too good, and I had to audition the next day, and I thought, I will suck. This will be terrible. There's no way I can recreate what this Ricky Gervais had done.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Fantastic. So I figured the less I watch of him, the better off I'll be.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do a carbon
Probably
copy.
true. But I mean, really, I can't imagine anybody doing, because when you try to recreate a show like that, you always do think about the original. I don't know how many people had seen the original British version, but it was so funny and so dry. But you're doing a great job. It's really, really funny. And you must be getting a lot of recognition, both of you. John? Pretty much people just going nuts when they see you on the street?
Actually, people have been pretty mellow, pretty nice. Just like, hey, love the show. And then they do whatever they were doing before. Except one time I was actually out with some friends, and this girl came up to me, and she was like, aren't you on The Office? And I said, yeah. She goes, well, my friend Sarah really loves the show. And I said, oh, okay. And she's like, this is Sarah. So I was like, hey, Sarah, how are you? And as I'm talking to her, the girl who was talking to me before just like pats my face and puts her fingers in my mouth. And I was kind of like, hey, Sarah, okay. I don't know how that was appropriate, but I love thinking about how she tells that story. Like, people are like, you saw the guy from The Office last night? She's like, yep. Totally put my fingers in his mouth.
Good luck with the show. The show is really, really funny. It's doing really well.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. And you don't have to get up yet. But anyway, thank you so much.
Don't worry about it.
And,
oh, Rainn, no.
What is it?
We
Sorry,
wanted to.
he wants to dance.
We really wanted. We missed the dancing.
It's okay.
To do the dancing.
Oh, y'all both want to dance?
A little bit.
Well, we don't really have a lot of time, but all right, if you both really want to.
We want to have a dance-off.
All right, well, y'all go ahead.
Hit it, Tony!
So now you're on the computer all the time. Are you really on computer, or what are you doing back there?
Yeah, our computers are hooked up. They're live to the internet, which is great because we have to sit in the background for sometimes 10 hours a day on the show. And I have a MySpace page. That's what I do. I always say I do the same thing at work that everyone else does. I answer email, I shop online, and I peruse MySpace.
And you talk to your fans?
I talk to my fans on MySpace, yeah. And I like.
Do they say, "What are you doing right now?" And do you tell them the scene? Or?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Like sometimes I'll write people back for their birthday. I'll surprise them with like a birthday message, and I'll say, "And I wrote this birthday message during this scene in the upcoming episode called whatever."
Wow, that's really cool and very special. And so you were on The Office. You were also a writer. Was it the entire? Did you start out as a writer, or were you always?
Yeah, well, I started out as a stand-up, and then one night Greg Daniels, who created the show The Office, saw me and asked for a meeting and thought he wanted writer-actors on the show, sort of like it was SNL or something, where writers act. And so I joined as both at the same time, and I had both jobs all the 8 years that I was on it.
That's really cool to write. Then you can write more for your character and really feature yourself.
Well, I ended up writing less. I guess I kind of thought I would write. Everyone else thought I'd write for myself, and I kind of thought, well, who am I to write for myself? And so I ended up just like going like that, like once per episode, for some of the years. But it was fun to have input on your character and not always wonder what the writers were going to come up with.
I think it's a really great idea. And Mindy was a writer also, right? And I think it's a good idea for the actors to be writers as well. And then John Krasinski was on. You went to high school together or something?
John Krasinski and I have known each other our whole lives in the weirdest, most coincidental way. We played Little League together. There's a picture in my house of a Little League team that I was on in 6th grade. And I was sick that day. The photo was taken. So John is in this photo that's been in my house my whole life, and I'm not. That's how bizarre the whole thing is. But we've known each other forever, and we showed up the final audition callback for The Office, and there he is for Jim, and I'm there for Ryan. And it's like, it's so bizarre that sometimes I think if I ever woke up and the whole Office had just been a dream, I'd be like, I knew it was I should have known. Like, you know who played Jim? John from high school. You know, it's that weird.
It is weird. It's very strange, and I love John. Because I'm so in awe of all that you do. You started out as a writer on The Office, right?
I started as a writer, and then in the first season, my boss, Greg, needed Steve Carell's character, Michael, to be slapped by someone. He needed to offend someone, and he was like, Mindy, I think you should slap him. So it was like the 4th time I'd met him, and I had to slap Steve Carell across the face.
How was that?
It was hard because he wasn't offending me, he was just making me laugh. So I kept like breaking, as like when you can't like stay serious in a scene. So if you look at it, he's like offending me, and I had to like look up there. I can't like make eye contact with him.
Right. So you go from that to being on the show. And then, now you're also a co-producer of the show?
Yeah, now I'm producing and ordering people around, and I'm directing, actually. I directed that clip that we just saw.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well, directing is great because you can just make yourself like the star of everything. Like, if you saw those webisodes, like, it just looks like The Office is a show about, like, an Indian girl and, like, her making her way in the big city. Like, you'd be really confused as to what the show is about, which is fine with me.
That's hilarious. Somebody must have told you, over this COVID thing that we've been going through, so many people binge-watch The Office that, you know, it was popular to begin with, and now there are people that rewatched it or watched it for the first time. It's hugely popular.
Yeah. I mean, that show, the staying power of that show it's just mind-boggling. People love it, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. That's all amazing. I do find it weird, however, like, the audience is getting younger and younger. People are showing this to their toddlers, and I mean, it's just weird when, like, my friend's 4-year-old is like, dog, dog. I don't, and not just, I mean, it's not like an R-rated show, but it's PG, right? I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't watch it till you're like 10.
But what a great, I mean, it's popular, obviously, because great writing, great cast, just very few shows have that kind of star power and, and writing.
I'm sure you get this question all the time. I get this question. Will there be an Office reunion, a reboot, and would you do it? Yeah. I present the question to you. Would you do an Office reboot?
I would not do an Office reboot.
Yeah.
But I would love to do a reunion special
That
episode.
would be fun, yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to
will-
get us all
yeah.
together again.
I would do anything they called me to do.
I'm with you, Angela. Yes.
So if you want to call me, I'm around.
I would do, whenever they ask that question,
Uh-huh.
they're like, and you know, and John Krasinski has said, maybe not sequel, maybe not. I'm like, I will be there.
Ellie.
So Angela and I are rebooting The Office, right? You do such a brilliant job portraying Angela Martin that Angela Martin?
Yes, that's
Oh my
her
gosh,
name.
I literally was just like, was that, my brain just did a short
Yeah.
circuit. You do such a brilliant job portraying Angela Martin that so many people think that you are that character.
I know.
Do you have to work harder to contradict that image?
Well, I think 9 years. Can I say the B word on this show? I can. Okay, nine years of having resting bitch face. My face just goes there naturally. So like I was at like Disneyland. I was having the best time, and I was like walking. I was like. And it's like, people are like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm having a great time. And then I was like, oh my God, I just go like that.
That's it.
It just happens.
Yeah.